Boys and girls, this is Benjamin Bok Choi back with another F123 Ranked Online video. We got two races for you today. The first race is a prime example of why Ranked Online has not been fun since the launch of the game. I think they really need to fix or create some skill-based matchmaking or something like that. And I know it doesn't help that I don't do ranked races every week, so I'm at a very low division. But we qualified on pole at Australia, turn 1 and 2, nice and easy. We were about 8/10 ahead. Coming down to turn number 3 right now. Keep an eye in the mirror. Somebody goes in deep, ruins the race for everybody else, and we're already almost 2 seconds ahead of everybody. And then it was just pretty much just driving for the rest of the last 14 laps by myself. We come to the end of the race, half the grid is DNF'd. P2 is 25 seconds behind, P3 is almost a minute behind, and that was an absolute waste of time for us. It was not fun whatsoever. So yeah, hopefully with the F124 launching pretty soon, they'll kind of fix ranked online races so that we can actually have some fun. But now we go on to our second race. We are at Spain. Not exactly one of my best tracks, but we put in a decent enough quali lap that we qualified P2. Now the guy on pole was 3/10 of a second faster than us, and he's starting on the mediums, which makes me think he's got all the confidence in the world, and he's probably way quicker than us, probably even quicker than the qualifying time made it seem. So we're gonna go start on the softs. P3 was only a 10th slower than us in quali, and I only pipped him right at the end in the last 2 corners. He was ahead of me for the entirety of the lap, and we only got ahead of him. So I know that he's going to be pretty quick as well, and I think everybody in the top 8 was actually within a second. Now P1 gets a really good launch. We don't really get ahead. He goes south for a second, which makes me think we were in a B license lobby, but he pops back in, so thank God that wasn't the case. And a couple cars kind of ghost into each other into turn 1 behind us, and 1 or 2 go off. But doesn't really affect us anyway. We're still in P2. And now we're just kind of figure out what the pace of this guy ahead of us is and see if we can maybe pass him early on and use him as a cork in the bottle to slow down everybody else. I was thinking, let's get ahead of him and have him slow down Apollinario behind us, who is still really close to us. P4 and P5 are already starting to drop back a little bit. As you can see, the gap is just getting bigger and bigger. Having to lift off a little bit through here because our setup has a lot lower wings. I think time trial is 46.36, and we were using 40.32, I believe. So we're not really that quick through the corners. The guy ahead and the guy behind is going to be quicker than us through the corners. But fortunately, there's really only one overtaking spot, and that's the start-finish straight. So as long as we can maintain decent top speed, we should be all right. I didn't want to use battery here, but I realized we were closing in, and so I figured let's drain the battery, get ahead of him, see if we can extend and create a gap, and hopefully we don't have to battle too many people at the end of the race. And as you can see, P4 and P5 are already 2.5 seconds and 3 seconds behind us. So it looks like it's going to be a battle with the top 3. But we cut to the end of lap number 3. Mr. Harry was just way too quick. Even on the mediums, he was able to stick right behind us. So now we don't really have a choice. He's going to pass us. I only have 25% battery left. He's going to get by us eventually anyway. I'm going to try and save my battery to fight Apollinario for P2. So here we go. And this is where I notice, crap, this guy is not passing us fast enough. I wanted him to just get by so that we can both get into turn 1 and turns 1 and 2 nice and easy. But we had to get off throttle a little bit there, which invited Apollinario to close up a little bit. And now he's going to be able to stick within DRS as well. So cut to lap number 6. We were still within DRS here. And then a glitch happens where Dark Die 27, who's a minute and 10 seconds behind us, all of a sudden becomes P1. But our tires are starting to die at this point. We're flirting with being dropped outside of the DRS, and we were so close to being able to stay within it. But the tires are gone. We didn't get a great exit off the last corner, and I thought about using overtake to maintain DRS, but I thought better of it as we have the driver behind us who's about to get DRS off of us as well. But I realized he was about 8/10 behind us, and he didn't really close up that much. So I think we have much better straight line speed. So as long as we don't make any crazy mistakes through these corners, we should still have a fighting chance. Now we catch up to the guy who was glitched ahead of us, and I wasn't sure if he was going to ghost out or not. He didn't until we got side by side, and then he ghosted out. So we lost a little bit of time there, but I think Apollinario had to deal with that as well. So I don't think it really affected the race too much. Now we cut to the end of lap number 7. And Mr. Harry is already 2 seconds ahead. Apollinario within half a second of us. But take a look at this. We're not using any overtake. He's got DRS, and he's barely closing in on us. Now, he does get close enough to take a look, but he thinks better of it, tucks right back in behind us. And fortunately, we both make it through turn 1 nice and clean. So this is going to be an issue for the end of the race. I'm expecting him to probably jump into the pits a lap earlier than us. We are dealing with a ghosted back marker here. Now I think they still give you dirty air, so we had to go a little bit conservative through this corner. But again, it's going to affect the driver behind as well, so not too much of an effect there. Yeah, lap number 8 now. I think we were supposed to come in at the end of lap number 9, and I'm expecting the driver behind to jump in. I don't think he must realize he doesn't have the straight line speed to overtake us on the straight, so he's probably going to try and get an undercut and then use his higher downforce to extend through the corners. So end of lap number 8 here, and he does duck into the pit lane, so now we have to put in a very good in lap to make a gap. Now, it wasn't all that great. Mr. Harry stays out for one more lap, and Apollinario is the yellow dot coming down the start-finish straight right now, and somehow we managed to come out of the pits ahead of him. Again, having to deal with Dark Die 27, who is technically supposed to be behind us, but I don't know. This race glitched out a little bit. He's not ghosted out. I was expecting him to ghost out, so we had to let off the throttle and go on around the inside. Yeah, I don't know. Let's hope F124 launches in a better state than this game is. But yeah, our tires are cold now. We did have 2 seconds to Apollinario, but he's got warmer tires, and I think he's using all of his battery to close up. And just as we hit the DRS detection zone for the next DRS straight, he does manage to get within a second. So fortunately, we still have about 35% battery, and I think he used up all of his battery to catch up to us. So let's see how it goes now. He is about half a second behind us. I think he's still using battery to try and close up on us. We had a good enough in lap that we managed to come out ahead of him, and we didn't have to use too much battery. So at this point, if he gets ahead of us, we're just going to save our battery towards the end of the race and then make our move there. So let's see what happens here. He's really close in behind us, but still not really making up all that much time. We actually have to let off the throttle a little bit earlier to allow him to pass here. So I wanted to see where he was at with his state of charge, and fortunately his light is flashing, which means he's below 10%. And we just crossed the start-finish line, so I know that he is legit under 10%. We skipped to lap number 14, and in those 3 or 4 laps, his light was flashing the entire time. So I know that he's got no battery right now. We're at 55%, about to start lap number 15, so we only have a couple more chances here to overtake. We are under half a second here, so that will help us out as well. Again, he's starting to flash. We have 50% battery, just going to drain it down this straight to get ahead of him nice and clean, and then use a little bit more to see if we can extend the gap. Into turn 1, nice and clean, and yeah, now we just have to not make any mistakes. But at this point, we've been battling for the entirety of this race. We've been within 1 second of each other since lap number 1, so it was physically draining, because for some reason I have my force feedback on at like 95%, which made my arms super tired. But also mentally draining, because we had to drive so carefully to not make any mistakes. A lot of gravel traps here around Spain, and a lot of really long mid to high speed corners that you can screw up on and find yourself into the barrier. So going into sector 3 of lap number 15 now. We are able to stay over a half a second ahead, which will give us a chance to stay ahead. I think he's still really low on battery. So let's take a look at this. He's about 8/10 behind us. We're not using any battery to defend down the straight, and he is just not closing up at all. As you can see, he was about 8.5. So he's only gained 2/10 down the straight. So as long as we can maintain a 7/10 or an 8/10 gap to him, we should be all right. Like I said, we're going to be slow through the corners because we have a lot less downforce on the car, but there's only one spot to overtake here. So if he can't overtake on the straight, then we should be able to stay ahead of him throughout the rest of the lap. And even through the corners here, he's not really making too much progress. We do have 1 lap newer tires, so that should give us a little bit of assistance through the corners as well. This DRS straight here, he's still about 8/10 back and just not closing up at all. So the last chance for him to overtake is about to come up on the start-finish straight. He's using the rest of his battery here. He's a little bit closer now, 7/10. But then we managed to pull that to 8/10 again. So we just need to defend on this last straight. Can we do it? And he pushes a little bit too hard out of the last corner and goes into the gravel trap. And now he is over a second behind us. So we managed to hold him off. But yeah, this was a very, very difficult race for me. Just because we were either always attacking or always defending. And the two guys around us, well, Mr. Harry, we were nowhere near his pace. He was super fast even from the beginning, and I think he just allowed us to drain our battery and get by him so that he'd have better battery than us once DRS was enabled. But this Apollinario guy in P3 was really close, kept it clean the entire race as well, which you rarely see in ranked races, so I definitely appreciate that. The top 3 guys were very clean and very fast. So yeah, something you don't really see all the time, especially in the lower divisions of ranked. But we managed to hold off this guy behind us who gave us trouble the entirety of the race, and we managed to come home where we qualified. So P2, qualifying P2 and finishing the race P2. Obviously, we still have some work to do. We were 10 seconds behind Mr. Harry. Obviously, some of that has to do with the fact that we were battling the guy behind us the entire race, but he was just super quick anyway, so not wanting to take anything away from him. But that's it for us today, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, feel free to leave it a like, comment, or subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Remember to eat a bok choy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.